The National Gendarmerie Intervention Group, commonly abbreviated to GIGN, is an elite tactical police unit of the French National Gendarmerie. Its missions include counter-terrorism, hostage rescue, national threat surveillance, protection of government personnel, and targeting organised crime. GIGN was established in 1974 following the Munich massacre in Germany, which happened during the 1972 Olympic Games. Initially created as a relatively small tactical unit specialising in sensitive hostage situations, it has since grown into a larger and more diverse organisation of nearly 400 members with expanded responsibilities. GIGN shares the jurisdiction of the French territory with the National Police Special Response Units. GIGN is headquartered in Versailles near Paris. Although most of its operations take place in France, the unit, as a component of the French Armed Forces, can operate anywhere in the world. Many of its missions are secret, and members are not allowed to be publicly photographed. Since its formation, GIGN has been involved with over 1,800 missions and rescued more than 600 hostages, making it one of the most experienced counter-terrorism units in the world. After the reactivation of Team Rainbow in 2015, 5 GIGN agents were recruited to bring their skills and expertise to assist in the fight against terrorism on a global scale. These agents were called Doc, Rook, Twitch, Montaigne, and Lion.
I've learned from experience that the place to save lives is in the field, not an office. And sometimes, the only way to save a life is to take one.
Gustave Kateb, codenamed Doc, is a defending operator in Team Rainbow. Doc is of French and Algerian descent and has grown up in Paris in a wealthy family. He comes from both a medicine and military background and has well-respected lineage. In his second year of studying medicine with the prestigious Paris Descartes University, he answered the appeal for volunteers in Doctors Without Borders. He subsequently volunteered numerous times on emergency frontline missions around the world. At the age of 20, Doc declined a prominent private medical practice in favour of a career with the French Defence Health Service. Doc's main discipline is toxicology and ecotoxicology. He has authored and contributed reports to the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control Studies on biological agents and their effects on at-risk populations and damaged environments. Doc continues to volunteer with Doctors Without Borders, recognising the ongoing need for doctors. He is a highly regarded medical officer in the French Army Special Forces Command. Doc shows a high degree of empathy for human suffering. He sees the military service, especially the role of counter-terrorism units like GIGN, as noble in their commitment to the protection of civilians. He considers the front line to be his natural habitat, as it gives him the opportunity to have direct influence and impact on the well-being of the unit. His inclination to conflict resolution makes him a valuable asset. Doc's wealthy upbringing could have easily turned him into a narcissist, yet he's one of the most accessible and thoughtful people you'll ever meet. Initially, he wasn't very interested in being a doctor. The direction seems to have come from a family tradition, although it's clear that his grandfather's military service was also a strong motivation. Doc admits that he had almost quit at the end of his first year because he had no passion for his work. But during his second year, Doc volunteered for Doctors Without Borders for the first time, and the experience of that first trip still resonates with him. The poverty, the chronic lack of supplies, and the desperate needs of the people. He remembers the look of worry on the mothers' faces as they gathered near tents, and this is where he found his passion at last. Encountering people with so little, Doc felt ashamed and embarrassed of the life he had lived. Field reports reflect Doc's selfless actions, and even though he's a doctor, he's explicitly chosen roles in combat situations. During a frontline operation in East Africa, local militias stormed the hospital where Doc worked, and all the patients he had fought so hard to save were killed. From these horrendous events, Doc realised that it was within his power to save even more lives if he was to take on more of a combat role too. Doc's passion for conflict resolution is just one of a dozen skills that make him an asset to Rainbow. It's clear that his team trusts and respects him. While thorough medical care is obviously preferred in the case of major combat injuries, Fast-paced, real-world operations require a more flexible approach to the treatment of field injuries. The reviving jolt that Doc administers can often spell the difference between the mission success and failure, where every second is precious. A handheld, trigger-operated pistol powered by a pressurized CO2 charge, delivering a 1 mg dose of epinephrine in a saline solution. The stim pistol delivers the necessary dose of epinephrine to stimulate the heart and flood the cardiovascular system with adrenaline. The shot also includes micropellets that acts as a near-instant blood clotting agent that move quickly through the circulatory system, sealing any internal bleeding and damaged blood vessels. They also fill in open wounds from the inside and prevent soldiers from bleeding out.
I trust that the ceramic trauma plate I'm wearing will stop a .357 Magnum round traveling at 490 meters per second. I trust myself not to move, not to flinch. I trust my teammates. And they trust me.
Julien Nizan, codenamed Rook, is a defending operator in Team Rainbow. Rook was the youngest son of a working-class family. His father was a respected stonemason, while his mother held numerous jobs. Both of them informed his sense of architectural design and precision, helping him earn top rankings in school. Along with Rook's intellectual interests, he excelled in athletics from an early age, including track and field, fencing, and cycling. He later dropped out of university to cycle across France. At age 18, the Gendarmerie enlisted his father for an anti-corruption sting with local businesses. Rook was fascinated by the level of planning required by the police. He eventually enlisted in the Gendarmerie Nationale and was assigned to the Highway Patrol Unit. Rook thrived in his training, which includes specialized qualifications in weapons, surveillance, and criminal investigations. His adaptability put him at the top of the list in military and defensive courses, quickly capturing GIGN's attention. His first operations in that group merged all the ingredients to fulfill his relentless desire for challenges and adventure. Specialising in hostage rescue and surveillance, Rook's list of successful interventions is comprehensive. Rook is idealistic and trusting. He can be impulsive and must self-regulate in order to remain on task. When his focus is clear, he is decisive and driven to complete the task at hand. What stands out is his ability to adapt to demands. Rook's interests are wide-reaching, and his parents have played a large part in this attribute of his personality. Rook and his sister were encouraged to be curious about everything. Rook's father was a stonemason, which requires imagination, precision, and dedication. His mother's ability to explore different vocations with enthusiasm, bookkeeping, street busker, florist, tour guide, and chef, all strongly influenced how Rook adapts to challenges and what goals he sets out for himself. Field reports reflect some of Rook's chameleon-like way of emerging into whatever role is required. Dropping out of university to cycle around France gave him his first sense of freedom, and then his world expanded even further when he returned. Right from the beginning, Rook remembers appreciating the broad spectrum of skills and range of expertise required to be in law enforcement and military. Every day is different. Rook is one of the more consistent optimists on the team. His ability to energize other specialists is important, and he is certainly well liked. The GIGN's R1 Rhino armour contains a hot-pressed boron ceramic plate designed to stop small arms fire from penetrating the chest cavity, as well as offering small protection against trauma caused by backface deformation. They are stored in a lightweight, sturdy satchel for rapid field deployment. The trauma plates were initially designed as a low-profile ballistic shield for trust exercises. Rook was first introduced to the trauma plate when he was on the receiving end of a .357 Magnum. The protection they provide and the ease at which the damaged plate could be replaced made the trauma plates a valuable addition to the Team Rainbow's defences. The R1N's composition of boron ceramic plates can limit the damage from small arms and effectively buys time for the team from fatal impacts so that medical assistance can reach the team in time. Gilles Touré, codenamed Montaigne, is an attacking operator in Team Rainbow. The son of an army officer and school teacher, he is the middle of 4 siblings with 2 older brothers and a younger sister. A few years after graduating high school, Montaigne began his law enforcement career as a uniformed police officer in the National Gendarmerie. They used his imposing presence whenever there was a need to show strong police presence, earning him a spot in the mobile gendarmerie, where the focus was on crowd control as well as military and counter-terrorism patrol missions. Montaigne's push for extensive training provided him with a broad skill set and earned him with a position in the GIGN. After many years of service and involvement in numerous incidents, such as the 1994 French airline hijacking, Montaigne has become the longest-serving GIGN operative. Montaigne is a certified GIGN instructor when not deployed with Rainbow. He's best utilised for his breaching techniques, but also has training in combat engineering and reconnaissance. Montaigne is considered highly dependable by his peers. His steady nerves have allowed him to take control of complex, high-stress situations during the tenure of his career. As a trainer, Montaigne is stern with new recruits, but always tries to remain fair. He prefers to lead by example. He's a man of few words, even among his friends. Montaigne is happy with how Rainbow continues to evolve and is proud to be a part of it. Although an instructor, he is always willing to learn from his peers and is trying to stretch beyond his comfort zone. Montaigne has a naturally protective nature. His choice to enter law enforcement speaks more to that than his family's military history. Montaigne's family raised them to be protectors, and his 2 brothers are also in the military. Their parents would often tell him of stories of various ancestors who fought for what was right. He believes that education is the solution to many of the world's problems. His sister finished her police training, but switched to teaching when she felt that it was where she could do the most good. Montaigne has some doubts about his role in Rainbow. Many of the operators are exceptionally skilled with languages. Montaigne isn't. This isn't an issue for the team, but even a perceived weakness can be debilitating. Le Rooker was first issued in the late 1980s, a composite of reinforced alloys and Kevlar. Its sturdiness and well-designed collapsible feature has made it a staple in GIGN operations for nearly 30 years. Montaigne's shield is the only original Le Rooker still in service. Although it's seen its fair share of conflict, the device has become an extension of Montaigne, having saved his life and members of his team on multiple occasions. It'll most likely remain on active duty until he retires.
You have a few spare hours. I'd love to share the details of how this device is a masterpiece of design. Quadruple independent gearboxes enabling 0 to 20 in under 4 seconds. 10 kilometers of internal wiring. 1,100 expertly machined hand-assembled components. Flawless control at over 300 meters. What all my team needs to know is, does it do the job or doesn't it? And let me tell you right now, it does the job.
Emmanuel Pichon, codenamed Twitch, is an attacking operator in Team Rainbow. Twitch grew up in a family of academics in the historic city of Nancy, France, where the children were encouraged to excel in maths, science, and technology. Early participation in sponsored computer programming competitions led to her joining the Army Cadets at 16. Almost immediately, her talent was recognized, particularly in robotics. Her superiors quickly encouraged Twitch to study engineering while continuing her career in the military. From the start, Twitch's focus has been on the adaptable technology that aids soldiers in the field. While there is much praise for her technological achievements, Twitch's tactical prowess and ability to problem solve quickly make her a crucial operational asset. Twitch's unique combination of talents make her well suited for GIGN and later Rainbow in 2015. Field reports describe Twitch as technologically creative, but this doesn't encapsulate all of who she is. There's more depth and surprises to Twitch than anyone expects. There is some academic rivalry between Twitch and her sister, a physicist, but nothing serious. It's an endemic of the perfection her family instilled in their children. Her father told her to strive to be incredible every day, and that it will resonate out into the universe. The Rainbow team speaks highly of her, both operationally and in a social setting. She's a very hands-on researcher. The manner in which she gets right up close to a robot, interacting with it, the way someone would a child or pet, illustrates her innate compassion. Twitch is currently teaching AI empathy so that it can, in turn, teach humans. Her background and interest in AI means that one of Twitch's favourite pastimes is people watching. Whether it's settling into a restaurant or taking a bus, she goes wherever there are crowds and studies behaviour. Travel too excites her. The list of where she hasn't been is shorter than where she has. In 2019, Team Rainbow loses contact with Caveira as she's gone off the grid. Valkyrie and Twitch go on a search and find that she's in Bolivia. With the help of the ghosts, Twitch works alongside while Valkyrie guides them from HQ. After Twitch and the ghosts investigate a crashed truck, they find out that Caveira is searching for a man in the cartel. As Twitch and the ghosts look through the man's apartment, they find out that the cartel member is an undercover Brazilian police officer and Caveira's brother. The team links up with Caveira at the Liberta Chemical Institute, and together they find and rescue her brother and extract him. The shock drone can scout locations and drive an electronics shock via probes that incapacitates electrical devices and can be used as a distraction towards hostiles. The first official deployment of the RSD Model 1 was during a hostage situation in Paris. A mentally unstable suspect barricaded himself in a convenience store along with several hostages. GIGN was deployed and sought to resolve the situation without violence. Twitch was on site and was able to maneuver the drone close enough to the suspect to deliver a slight shock, forcing the suspect to drop his weapon, where he was incapacitated by an undercover operative. The incident was resolved with 0 fatalities.
Ricin, anthrax, sarin gas, Ebola, VX gas, Chimera viruses. Some enemies are invisible. But the CBRN threat unit is Rainbow's shield against those enemies that can kill you with a single drop of blood.
Nanobots online.
Big Brother are coming in for Overwatch.
Or one wrong breath.
Olivier Flemmard, codenamed Lion, is an attacking operator in Team Rainbow. Lion was born to a conservative, wealthy family. His parents and older sister were in medicine and are devout Catholics. He was smart and arrogant, but he believed rebellion was a better use of his intellect. It was fun to act out against expectation, to drink and to party. At least it was until he got his girlfriend, Claire, pregnant. He tried to convince Claire to get an abortion, but she refused. Once his parents found out about the pregnancy, they kicked him out of the house. It was the last straw in a string of bad behaviour. Depressed, Lion went on a drug and alcohol-fueled bender, getting trashed enough to land in the hospital. That was his wake-up call. He was 18 and nearly homeless, so he joined the French army out of desperation. He needed purpose. Military life was hard, but rewarding. Lion took solace in purpose and struggled to break the old habits. He started sending money to Claire to support their newborn son, even though she did not want to see him. He became a second-level in-combat rescuer and joined the 2nd Dragoon Regiment in their role as a CBRN reaction force. He also developed a close relationship with the regiment's Catholic chaplain, Bertrand, who eventually spoke to Claire and convinced her that Lion regretted his actions. He arranged a reunion for them. It was a hard moment for Lion. He met his son, Alexis, the child he wanted aborted, and the reality of his decision hit him hard. He had been selfish, pushing his girlfriend to do something because it inconvenienced him. More so, Claire was about to get married and Alexis was already calling someone else Daddy. Everything he had done, putting his loved one through hell, shoved him into a wild depression that almost cost him his rank. Chaplain Bertrand helped Lion through this crisis, and with it he returned to the Catholic Church. Lion swore that he'd do everything possible to rectify the pain that he had caused. So he worked harder and sought more challenges. He qualified to join the GIGN as their new biohazard expert, using drones to maintain and hold quarantine perimeters. He focused on his duty, on making things right, no matter how much it hurt him in the process. His feelings were irrelevant. What mattered was strict observation of his duty. During a yellow fever outbreak in Sudan, while protecting a field investigation team, his loud voice scared a frightened mob back, and he gained his nickname, Lion, from the locals. In 2015, the army asked him to lead the 2nd Dragoons into West Africa to assist medical personnel fighting the Ebola epidemic. tragedy ensued, and the decisions Lion made for safety reasons put him at odds with Doc, who blamed him for the death of several medical personnel on site, including Doc's colleague. The tension between the two continues to this day in Team Rainbow. Lion immediately proved his value to Team Rainbow when he and Finker uncovered the source of mysterious mist that came ashore in Sussex and poisoned the people, though he claims he shares that success with Twitch, who provided him with a new aerial drone to locate the mist plume. Lion has managed to stay in his son's life, but it's an awkward relationship. Alexis does not know how to call him father, and Lion is not sure of what it means to be a dad in the day-to-day. He has mended bridges with his parents and sister, has returned to the Catholic faith, healing those wounds, and while his decision to be a soldier bothers them, he is no longer the thoughtless rebel. He is not a soldier to make life easy on his soul. He bears the responsibility for what he has done, even though Bertrand constantly reminds him that forgiveness is in the heart of God. Lion is a by-the-books operator because he doesn't trust his civilian instincts. Rules give him structure and allow him to control what he considers the pettier parts of his personality. They give him a safety net where conscience or arrogance could otherwise weaken his resolve and hurt more lives. He bears the weight of responsibility for what he has done and pushes himself to the limits as a form of corporal punishment. Unfortunately, Lion is arrogant and has rubbed some people within GIGN and Rainbow the wrong way. Doc thinks he lacks the empathy necessary to help in a medical crisis, while Lion thinks Doc's humanitarianism is a liability. Twitch is not happy about being caught in the middle of this fight. Lion's closest friend in GIGN is Montaigne, but when Thatcher punched over Lion after he said the wrong thing during a training exercise, Lion almost brought the GIGN and SAS to blows. Lion spends most of his social time at church volunteering where he can, or at his apartment reading and staying out of trouble, while listening to the angry albums of his teenage years. Twitch provided him with an aerial drone while he served in GIGN. The E1D helped Lion maintain quarantine by detecting movement in an area, giving an overview of hot zones or of the battlefield. His drone can stay airborne indefinitely, but he must choose the right moment to perform his scans. I must apologise for my lack of consistency in uploads over the last little while. YouTube has been messing with me a bit lately. First, half of my channel got demonetised, then it was upgraded to the whole channel getting demonetised. After submitting manual reviews on almost every single video, it's almost gone completely back to normal. However now, even though I've set the channel to set this channel not made for kids, I've had a number of videos overturned and set as made for kids. I've also had strikes added to my account, and then removed shortly after, which was actually more confusing than receiving them in the first place. And to top it off, every video I now upload is instantly being demonetised pending manual reviews. So yeah, not hugely motivating. I know this will pass, the same thing happened last time YouTube made some updates. I've just got to write it out. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers!